not going live on my end. Okay. Hey guys, welcome to Conversation with A&A. I'm your co-host Angela. Avon is our host, and we have our regular contributor Greg of the Urban Conversion Table. Hi guys, what's going on tonight?
How's everybody?
Avon, how
I'm
you?
good over here. I'm good over here. How's everybody doing on that end?
Everyone's good. How's everything with you, Avon? You good?
I'm good. I'm good. I'm ready to go. Our listening audience don't realize we had a little technical difficulties behind the stream. We thought we were streaming, but we were not. But here we are now to do what we need to do. So I'm good over here. My co-host and Greg is good. So let's go. Let's get to it.
I'm good. I love talking about these type of topics, which means a lot, especially to the younger generation. That this is the conversations they're talking about. So tonight we're responding to Kai Cenat. Do Black Americans have culture? Okay. So about 1 month ago, a popular Twitch and YouTube streamer, Kai Cenat, started controversy by boldly claiming that Black Americans have no culture. This statement, which indoctrinates a false and harmful stereotype, was disputed across social media. I mean, social media went crazy. Kai, whose parents who are allegedly from the Caribbean, was criticized for ignoring the rich cultural heritage of Black Americans and significant contributions in music, art, literature, cuisine, invention, and more. But to me, what was more interesting was that a lot of young Black Americans spoke out to dispute his statement. That once again, his statement was Black Americans have no culture. Okay. So before we continue, I just want to add, I was gonna show a video, but no, I'll make one more statement. Um, because as I started to really think about this topic, I remembered when my daughter was in high school and she would have cultural day. Y'all remember that, right? Your kids,
Correct.
right, Avon? Your cultural day, and
Yes.
you bring in a dish or you wear a certain outfit or whatever.
Yes.
I used to be like, okay, Kayla, take, macaroni and cheese or something in terms of the dish because nobody make macaroni and cheese like Black Americans, right?
Correct.
I did have one time before Chinese make macaroni and cheese. It was obviously awful. That's like me trying to make fried rice the way they do it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
So it could be decent, but it's just that something about the collard greens and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So she would have cultural day, and Avon, I'm sure you remember that with the kids. Who are now
Exactly. Yes,
grown.
I do.
Right. But I never really participated. But she would when she come to me and ask me for my advice, I mean, it wasn't such a big deal to me because I'm like, it's all around us, Kayla. So but however, I later regret that I thought it was obvious of what Black American culture is. And I'm sure sometimes we do that, right? We just, that's that we got culture. But in spite of me teaching her Black history, family values, religion, and so on, I learned she felt the same way as Kai. She felt the same way that Black Americans don't have no culture, which was heartbreaking when I found out. Okay. But something happened when she went to college, her first year in college. She wrote an essay for one of her classes about Black culture. And she now realizes and sees for herself that Black Americans have culture. So we had this conversation, and I'm going to tell her to speak. But we had this conversation, and I was kind of confused, and I was confused. Like, how could you say that you didn't have Black culture when, we went through this? I was even teaching my kids Black history. But she said something that's interesting, and this is why it's important for us to collectively change that narrative or be aware of that narrative and contribute to make sure that it doesn't um, affect our children. She said to me, "Mom, I know you taught that, but when you in a household and you you know, you don't hear it often. You just hearing it from your household,
Right.
and you don't go out when you go out in the world and you don't hear it in other places that much,
Right.
and you seeing something different and you hearing something different. It's kind of hard to, you know, it's like, yeah, you taught, my mother taught me, but is this real? Is this, you get what I'm saying? Like kids do, they're more influenced by their peers
Right.
than their parents, right?
Right,
Or
right.
the individuals in their home.
Right.
So if the whole community don't, you know, follow up and do all of this, and you know, it's kind of hard for a kid to really grasp and feel accepted for who they are, and understand that they do have culture, understand that they do have a history, a rich history, you
Yes.
know. And that's what she been through. And by the way, in her essay, she mentioned me, you know, how I did contribute culture in her life, but she just, at that point, it didn't, you know, most of us don't listen to our parents anyway until it's, you know, later, years later.
Absolutely.
Right? Because there's things my mother told me
Sure.
that years later I realized, oh, Mom, you was right, you know.
Mhm. Yeah.
So that's one thing. So culture is big, and I just want to go, I want you and Avon to see for yourselves, to hear from yourself what Kai Cenat said. So before we do that, I like to, Avon, can you put the disclaimer there? Because we have to do the
No
disclaimer.
problem.
All right, this is copyrighted material used. Okay, used. Avon.
Oh, what happened here? I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Oh.
This is copyrighted material used in this video, not necessarily with the owner's express permission. All comments, views, and opinions are of the host and their guests. Conversations with A&A is using a copyright disclaimer under Section 107 of the Copyright Act of 1976. Bam, that's right. We are in compliance with the copyright laws. Okay.
Is this gonna be Kai Cenat?
Yeah, this is going to be Kai Cenat. Okay, so he's, like I said, he's a young YouTuber. And for those who just came in, thank you for joining us on Conversation with A&A. Tonight's topic is we responded to Kai Cenat. Do Black Americans have culture? We responding to what he said, but it's some kind of graphic stuff that he's saying. So yeah, he gets graphic about it, and it's amazing.
Listeners
because
beware.
Yeah, listeners beware. All little children, put their earphones on, and like, you ever seen that lady that said, hide your kids, hide your mother, hide your dog, hide your kids. One of those moments. Okay, just for a little while, maybe about 5 seconds. Okay, here we go. Hold on. We're gonna get this. We're gonna present this live. Okay, here we go. Y'all ready?
Yes, indeed.
Okay. One moment. All right.
No, I don't hear him.
You don't hear me?
No, still don't hear him.
Oh, that's interesting.
Still not hearing it?
No, still not hearing it. I don't know what happens if you mute your mic for a moment. It's something that you just switch so that it plays. I mean, that you can hear it. I don't know what. Off the top. Nope, still don't hear it. Something in this sharing. If they don't have anything else to do to describe what to do when you're sharing the screen.
No, it don't say nothing else. I just have to show it. I have to show the screen and extra camera video stop. Okay, I'm gonna stop it. And do you hear it? Hold on. You hear anything?
No, I don't hear it. No.
That's interesting. I'm gonna try it one more time. Please be patient, everyone. We're gonna try to present this one more time. Share screen. Uh, uh, wow. Okay. What's that about? Wow. I'm gonna try to do this one more time. And add to stage, right? So now I'm gonna add it to stage C.
Mm-hmm.
Do you hear it?
No, I can't hear it. Try putting full screen, hitting the full screen when you have it playing. I don't know if you got to go into the settings underneath it, but I don't know what's happening there.
I'm trying to do it again. Share audio. To share audio, share a tab instead. Oh, a tab. Okay. So it want me to share a tab instead. Okay, so I'm gonna bring it over here and I'm gonna share the tab instead. Okay. I think I got it now. Oh no, 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 no. We're not doing that. Okay. So Avon, you still with me, right?
Yes, I am. Yes, I am.
Okay. We coming, we coming. Okay, I think I got it now. Wait, hold on. Share screen. Okay. Okay. So I'm gonna put it on stage now. I'm gonna add them to the stage, right? Tell me if
Okay.
you hear it. Hold on.
Are not cultured at all.
Now I can hear it.
Right.
Great.
I don't want to hear, like, when I'm asking general questions, I'm not asking y'all niggas. Stop dick riding. That niggas is black. You're black. You're just black.
Just be yourself and hit them with hey. Also, I just found the Anarchy hoodie yesterday. Can't wait. Finna resubscribe in a little W female viewer. Big 2 months December 9th.
Thank you so much. Bro, you're just fully American. You're African American, bro. That's it. How was that see you in 30? That wasn't an insult. That was strictly you're black. You're not Trinidadian. You're not Jamaican. You're not African. You're not word. You're not Ghanaian. You're not Dominican. You're not Puerto Rican. You're not Cuban. You are American.
I farted so loud.
God, you know.
Okay, so thanks to Confidence Creator, who I got this from. I'm gonna now remove that video off of there. So you guys seen it, right?
Correct.
Y'all seen it.
Yeah.
Now he's young. This is why, to me, this is what the younger people are talking about.
Mhm.
You know, you see how the older people are talking about relationships and they can't get a woman, they can't get a man, and we going through gender wars. But while we're going through gender wars, these young kids are going through these type of issues. Okay.
Yeah.
So he's a young YouTuber.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And like I said before, my daughter felt this way as well. And not because I made her feel that way or I didn't teach her something.
Right.
Is that the larger community. And I think that as African Americans, because now we even being told not to even say that, but African Americans, we have to start appreciating what our ancestors fought for over here.
Right.
And and being more aware and conscious of how we showing up. Okay. Now, Greg, I know me and you had this conversation. I know what you're going to say. Well, I'm not sure, but I know you're going to say there is certain types of blacks that, you know, that show something different
Right.
in our community. But this is what is going on right now. But before we move on, before I ask y'all questions, I want to give y'all, I'm going to tell y'all some of the comments that was, you know, on social media.
Right.
Somebody said this statement runs counter to the rich and diverse cultural contributions of Black Americans, spanning from music, art, literature, and more. And then somebody wrote, "How the F is Kai saying Black Americans have no culture, but this P dressed like a Black American and uses our lingo." Then somebody said, just Black, we have worked hard to fight and create this culture so that way others could come here and, you know, be here. And one guy went on that we've been raped, our ancestors have been raped, beat, murdered, etc. So how do you guys feel? Avon, how do you feel about that?
Well, from what I'm hearing from him, and I've heard it from others as well, and he is young, I'm hearing an intellectual dissonance going on. He's not making connections just by virtue of what the definition of culture is. And you have mentioned it before, but I don't know if the folks got a chance to hear it because we were not on air at the time. But culture can be defined as all the ways of life, including arts, beliefs, and institutions of a population that are passed down from generation to generation. Culture has been called the way of life for an entire society. As such, it includes codes of manners, dress, language, religion, rituals, and art. And that's some of the things. So to sit there and say that we don't have a culture just by virtue of us living and being there, there is culture. Now, you may not look the way that some people in the Caribbean or other places that may not reflect their culture or looks different to them, does not mean that it does not exist. So what he said was, yes, I can see why he got the pushback that he did, because he was speaking ignorantly. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of people say that because they're exposed to a certain narrative of us and how we're portrayed overseas and things like that. So, like I said, yeah, I said what I said. Yeah, Youngin has a lot to learn, and he was just spouting off and, you know, regurgitating some things that he heard from other people. And then the other thing that we get caught up in, the different societies and, you know, when we want to separate ourselves, you got the one-upmanship, okay? Because I'm from here, or we're closer to the motherland or whatever, and so we're more close to the roots than you are, whatever, and that's a bad situation right there as well, as far as I can see it. So the thing is, like you say, from the definition that we're working with going on, you see we have culture because yes, there's a lot of imitation of things, but it's not just one. The hip hop culture is one part of it's like a subculture. It's all part of our experience, but not everybody comes from that. We are a multitude of people, and we show many different things. You know what I'm saying? As a culture, so you know you gotta be careful with that. And apparently, not everybody is doing that. They're just making blanket statements and whatever, and it sounds like something that was heard and not fully investigated or fully understood. So that's my initial thoughts on that. We can go into it deeper lately, but that's what I think. up until this point thus far.
Well,
I don't-
in addition to that, too, and Greg, then I'm gonna let you answer that.
Yeah.
I heard that Black Americans are lazy. I think that's the biggest one. A lot of people heard that.
Mhm.
Black Americans are lazy, no culture, no.
It's a whole bunch of things.
So what do you have to say about that?
Well, first and foremost, most people that come from the Caribbean in these different places, a lot of them they automatically get the wrong perception about us anyway. Due to the fact that they don't know much. Then we'll
You think that was by design?
To some degree, yeah, because you got to remember, even when you look at us being called things like African American, something that Jesse Jackson started somewhere around 1988, because back in the 70s, 71, 72, we were recognized as Afro-American due to the fact of the afros that we wore and things like that. But in 88 is when he solidified that particular term. And that was a political thing, because that's around the time when he was trying to run for president. He was trying to run for office to some degree. He was trying to kind of rectify bringing together our people. He was trying to give us an identity. And even till this day, we still suffer from an identity crisis. And we do have, and due to the fact of it being to some degree fabricated because of that. Now, when I say those things like fabrication and stuff like that, I'm going into the understanding of when you look at the younger generation who literally stepped up and talked about culture, they will literally it all revolved around the things that they're literally subjugated to today. Anything from the drip, the swag that they talk about, the lingo, things like that. Those are the things that they're basically talking about, stuff like that. A lot of them unfortunately, they don't have a lot of things. There's so many things components that we grew up with that they today don't have. And what I usually always talk about when I'm talking to a lot of the younger generation today, I tell them one of the biggest issues is that, it's a lot of things. And we could go into this arena and talk about it all day about so many things. Like a few years back, I had a young lady and young man came to me. They were well dressed, and they walked over to me and they was telling me that I should vote for Joe Biden and that Trump was really a horrible person, this, that, so forth. And then I asked them why did they hold that position and stuff like that. And then when I told them, I said, well, first of all, I said, I understand your position. I said, y'all are just listening to speculation and things that y'all hear on TV. I said, but if you don't understand the significance between metropolitan forms of government, regional forms of government, and global forms of government, you don't really have an argument there. And I said, there's so many different things that our education system lacks. They don't teach us a lot of things.
Right.
They don't teach us things about
civics, nothing.
Right. When they when they talk about economics, they don't practice. It never discusses group economics. It doesn't talk about code of conduct and things like that, because these are the things that actually that's hurting the Black community today. This is one of the reasons why we're so discombobulated as a people. And this is also one of the reasons why when you look at how the poverty level stays stagnant or stay at one level, and everything else revolves around us, and it just grows and engulfs everything that we stand for, and we're just hanging around just like shucking and jiving. So when I hear him vent and say things, and only thing when he said that about no one's Ghanaian, you're not you're not African, you're not this, you're just Black. I understood where he was coming from there. But at the end of the day, he's still a young man that has so much things that he still has to learn.
But where he was coming from?
He was coming from he was just venting out of utter ignorance. Okay. Yeah, that's basically what that was. And I understand his position, but at the end of the day, and again, like I said, this younger generation, again, they have no code of conduct. And the code of conduct that they don't have is a code of conduct that we never had, And again, it was all definitely by grand design. White supremacy is still its ugly head is still reared in society, and it is something that's really actually controlling the narrative even till this day. Okay, so when you look at culture, and from what I learned about culture, growing in numbers and things like that. When we grow in numbers, but the whole point is that we have no guidance when we grow in numbers, and that's the sad part. That's something that we have to start rectifying as a group of people, a Black and brown community, which will make up Latinos, a lot of Blacks, and even a few other minority races that actually have been in the beginning. Like I'll give you just a very quick example. In '65, when they passed the Immigration Act, Lyndon B. Johnson in front of King, something like that was supposed to actually help the black progress, the demographical progress, and where we were supposed to, it was supposed to benefit us. But instead, what it simply did was minority groups that were now coming into America in the mid 60s, going into the 70s. What that basically did was it literally put them in position. What it simply did was it prevented them from going into all of the suburban neighborhoods and set them apart, and literally pushed them into the redlining areas in the black neighborhoods, like the Arabs, the Asians, and things like that. So this started the process of what they call commercial redlining and things like that. So when you looked at a business owner, when you look at some of these vacant places where they were redlining, they literally told the government keep all these places. No government institutions will go in there and give them any kind of opportunity to grow or anything. This is where they let the minorities come in. Rather the Asian and Arab minorities and Jewish minorities to come in there and start taking those places, then give them the equity and everything they needed. And that would actually put in position them, and they'd rather give them the loans, and this way it will prevent the black culture from really, really getting to.
But let me ask you something. So you think that's where he's getting that from? Like
what he's getting at, he's basically
verbating
he's building a defense mechanism just because people lashed at him. So he's just building the defense mechanism, and what he's simply trying to rectify is that when he said that black people have no culture, he's trying to clean it up by saying, well, you're not Ghanaian, you're not this, that, you're just black. That was just his way of retaliating to try to defend himself. That's all he simply did, and he did it out of utter ignorance.
Right, like
that's
Avon
exactly what he
say.
did. Yeah, that's what he did.
Like
that's all he did.
Say. Right.
But he knows he doesn't know anything about like the things. Again, this young black generation right now is failing because we failed them because of the design that literally failed us, right. Or literally, and this is basically what it is. It's a trickle down situation, and the cycle has not been broken.
Okay,
and this is the problem. This is a
but a lot of people too, and me and Avon was speaking about this too. I'm gonna go into how black culture looks today, but it is kind of disheartening because we done fought for so much, and there's a lot of times people don't read, so they don't really know, they don't educate themselves, even on your own history. Now you mentioned something about school. School wasn't designed to teach us that.
No, it wasn't. Rockefeller's day,
right
during the 1911.
Right, and school is an indoctrination, so you could become a good worker, docile, listen, don't ask no questions or whatever. So school, I wouldn't even expect that. What I know about school now, and me being a homeschool mom for a while and was committed to that, I wouldn't depend on the school system for that, right? So it's heartbreaking, that our ancestors been through so much with Black Wall Street and all these other lost cities that got bombed, that got invaded, and here in the United States, you think that we talking about someplace else, right? Exactly. We're talking about right here on this soil, American soil. So when I hear people come, say something different, it really hurts.
Sure.
And then I'm not mad at him per se because he's young, but I'm like, wow. It just go to show that not only older immigrants that comes here that understand, they teach it to their kids,
right?
So now I heard that when people come into the United States, they are told, some people say they even go into a room, they've been taken in the room and tell people to stay away from Black Americans.
They'll tell them how to stay away from certain areas. They'll redline, they'll mark certain places. And then what makes that bad, and just like how we were discussing earlier today, when you look at the small, when you look by statistic, when you look at the small remnant of people who actually display the worst characteristics and behavior patterns with our people, it's very small. They're very small in numbers. Okay, when you look at what we call the ghetto, or they call the ghetto Negro, or the ghetto Black person, it's a very, very small group of these people. But what makes it bad is the fact that social media, due to the fact of things like white supremacy and all kind of other things, they literally focus on that particular perspective. And then what they do, they try to put it on a broad scale, and so they can get everyone to think that this is the conception, that this is what it's about. And this is something that we need to also teach to this young Black generation. The biggest problem, the three biggest components that's really hurting the Black community today is, number one, the fact that we have no wholly economic independent structure as a demographic. It should be. It's sad that how the black dollar bill doesn't even last 5 hours in the black community. Okay, we have no code of conduct whatsoever. Then we have something called the quote unquote nigger mentality. The nigger mentality is the biggest shot in the foot, because with the nigger mentality, you feel you get this privilege of thinking, or you feel that you have this right away to feel that everything negative about black people, that's just what black is about. Okay, a man calls his woman a hoe and a beat. Well, that's just what black people do. Oh, that kid ran around the corner, shot the whole barbecue up with a Mac 11. Oh, well, that's because that's just what black people do. Oh, well, we go upstairs and look at Tubi and look at all these shows. Every show that you look at on Tubi right now is based on some black relationship or some black hustler or some black kingpin or something like that. Things that are basically things that happened 10, 20, 30 years ago, but they're still pushing the narrative today. And that's a big, big problem. The fact that they're pushing this and it's now dwelling within our self-conscious. It's
right, and then it's being implemented with other races and stuff like. But you know what? Before you say anything else, and this is what I want everyone to understand. Mm-hmm. You can say that, okay, so you get off a boat or you get off a plane and you go into a black neighborhood. I mean, you told, hey, Greg, for instance, don't talk to other blacks, or I don't know if they say even other black. Don't talk to those black
that way,
right? But don't talk.
Do it. I know what you're saying.
I'm just being extreme with it.
Right.
Do not talk to blacks. Greg, Angela, don't talk to those type of people. Even if they seem educated, smart, they still bad, mm-hmm. right? But then they send those people in that community. Mm-hmm. So it's not like you're saying, okay, stay away for such and such, but you're going to tell me to go live around them?
Right.
So with that, I'm thinking that they would catch on to the propaganda. Mm-hmm. You understand? Like, how could you tell me I'm better than these people, but you not setting me up so I don't have to live around them?
Right.
That I have to still go to their schools, I have to share their, restaurants and all of this stuff. And then I'm thinking, how do these people come from other places and think they're better than Black Americans if you have to share the same thing? That the reason why you're able to come into our communities because what our ancestors and some of us had fought for.
Yeah, but you got to remember, and that's why recently, I'll find the segment. It's on YouTube where there was a Jamaican sister who was actually talking about this. She was discussing how, as a child, she grew up believing that Black people was lazy until she came in, and she started doing research until she found out what it was all about, how she found out that what it basically was. And remember when I was telling you the other day that one of the main reasons why they would have rather had dealt with people from the Caribbean and things like that, because you got to remember, first off, when it comes down to slavery, they did not break up the families in the Black communities all in throughout the Caribbean, okay? They were very docile and they did not break up the families, okay? There was more indentured servants out there than they were over here. They constantly broke up the families here, constantly. Mm-hmm. I mean, you have one literal professor, psychologist that came from Germany, came here, Johann Friedrich Blumenbach, and literally structured a literal code of how when slave ships are coming in, you literally take the infants away from the mothers automatically. You break them down. You take these infants and you put them on different plantations where they'll grow up not knowing who they are, just completely their identity taken away from them. And then from there, you can start putting your last names on these slaves. And then, and you put them in wills and all kind of things like that. These are the things that they were doing. So, when you look at fast forward here in the 20th century, 20 to 21st century, okay, when you look at even things like Jim Crow and stuff like that, which was a serious blow. And then when you look at organizations like the NAACP, who actually was literally engineered and crafted, okay, to literally keep Black people indoctrinated into this and into literally falling victim into what they call integration versus segregation, mm-hmm, stuff like that. So we've had so many different things against us, and it's crazy. When you look at the Black American woman back in 1940 and 1950, she dressed like a beautiful woman with a code of conduct, with self-respect, dignity, and things like that. I mean, how do we get? We have to sit here and ask ourselves a question: how did we get from having a code of conduct to feminism? How do we get from a code of conduct to men running around here with their pants falling off their behind? Still, till it's actually getting worse, as we go. All right. We need to dissect and analyze exactly pinpoint when it started, and then again, and this is why when I talk to people about from 89 to about 92, from 89, when they got us to two vehicles of entertainment, hip hop and entertainment. They caught us through those two components right there. And right there at that very point in time, right there, 34 from that point when they started putting a lot of money behind like groups like NWA. You know, we don't love them hoes and things like that. Your mother's a B, your father. By the time 93 came, and then now the East Coast, what do we do as black people? We compete. We're good at competing, but what we do,
Because we tribal people.
Right, but we compete for the wrong reasons, unfortunately.
Right.
And then what happened was the East Coast jumped on the bandwagon, and before you know it, and then by the time you get to about 93, when they had that huge secret conference where they wanted to talk about how we need to push this type of culture on the black demographic, because we need this to be we need this literally to be something solid. We need this to be a solidified component to literally push this narrative, because
and the people that was pushing the narrative, let me state, that they was feeding their families with the negativity that was being pushed on us, that we was pushing out.
100%.
Because even though that was negative, it was still a creative form, but we didn't understand that we can change it.
100%.
You understand? Because that's how good we are. We can take anything.
Right.
Black Americans can take anything and change it, and we have shaped the world.
Right.
So, and I'm not speaking about this to be a victim.
No, you're not. No, that's
right.
the thing. Somebody like you can't be a victim at the end of the day, because you make so many different things happen on a collective scale anyway, as an individual.
Right.
And you understand the difference between individualism and collectiveness anyway.
Right.
This is the whole purpose of this show. The whole show, to rectify those things, and so we can pull it together.
So we can pull it together.
Right.
But there's people who use racism or whatever just to get stuck.
But here's the thing.
And in these talking points about black culture, this and that, to get stuck or to run away from their culture because they feel, no, I'm not doing that. So I want to use that as a disclaimer. Like, you still got to fight.
Right.
Who said that? Monsignor Tongue said you still got to be, you still got to stay in the revolution. You still got to keep up
with
it.
All I'm going to say to piggyback off of that is that one of the biggest issues right now plaguing the community, and the problem is that due to the fact that we have no code of conduct, no demographic structure, no collectiveness, and things like feminism and the nigger mentality now is literally controlling the entire narrative of where we are as black people. That's because from about 89 to here, and what we think is 2024, we have a 34-year run of not correcting all of these things that was going on at the time when they were really at its prominence. And that is one of the overall problems right there. And that's something that we have to really start discussing, talking about. And we need to definitely change the narrative as fast as we possibly can. And I'm only talking on a secular scale at this point. But that's where we are, if that makes sense.
Greg, can I ask you something? I want to say two things first.
Yeah,
for the
sure.
listening audience, please, if you want to comment, join us in the comment section. There's a live group chat. Comment there, and if you're feeling brave and you want to do more than just type in your comment, the link to tonight's show is also in the group chat. So I wanted to say that. And now, Greg, something that you had said. Now, I think we had a code. We do have a code of conduct. It didn't go away. It just got watered down a lot in a certain sector group of us. So it's not the majority, but it's enough of a number to show some problems with what's going on with our community and stuff. So I think we do have the code. It's there. It's just that the message has been watered down over time when you have a group of, like you said, I agree with you 100%. We dropped the ball. Dropped the ball. We got away from the basic things. So you know what, through the way is set up for us, that we're out of the home. A lot of people are out of the homes more. They can't be home to give that day-to-day stuff. The children are left with listening or watching TV to babysit them and to teach them things. And it's not good things that they're being taught, the music that they listen to, the show. So they're pushing a narrative. That's one of the ways that narrative got up in there. But we have a code. We do have a code. It's just that it's being drowned out by the narrative. And those that don't, have that parent there to stay on them or whatever, or don't have that strong community that, okay, I see what you're doing here, pull these kids up and talk to them to keep us together. So I don't know if I just made sense right there, but
No, you did.
but,
You know what Tariq Nasheed? Do you know who Tariq Nasheed is?
Sure.
Yeah. He said that he agreed too that with Greg that we don't have a code. So Avon, you do say we have a code. What would you consider the code that we currently have?
well, the code. First of all, we're talking about a sector, a small, a part of us. It's not the whole. So when you're saying, I would say, it just being generous is 50-50. You got a lot. I think we have more people that are on code, and that culture, through religion, all the different ways, teaching the kids at home right and wrong, and they have that community there to back them up. It's just that there is a sector, a younger sector now, that's been out there on their own, and then you have kids raising kids, and then it perpetuates this lack of understanding in this group. But it's not all. It's not the majority of us, but like it's enough of us to be concerned. And then when you have this narrative going out there across the world, out to the world, that's why we're hearing the things that we're hearing. You understand what I'm saying? Like I said, this narrative, it's the media and stuff that's pushed out there. So you got social media, you got the TV with their propaganda and pushing things that goes across the world. So people are hearing that narrative. We don't control the media. So we don't get to control the narrative that goes overseas, and things like that. So this is what other people are saying. So they're figuring, oh, this is what's going on over there in America. We don't know. And like I said before, we have a lot of Africans now that are understanding the truth of what we've been through, what we've gone through, and they feel bad about that. And they said that their heart aches for us, and they apologize for what they were believing and what they've been shown and told. And when they realize the truth that's going on there, and then they realize amongst themselves, they've been colonized and things like that. So that they're not one to speak because they're going through their own situation over there, so they can understand us better. So it's not all. We want to be careful. It's not a blanket thing. So these things exist just by living. There are code and ethics and all the things that was described in culture. It is still going on. It's not as unified as we like. We would want it to get out to the youngins that we kind of drop the ball, and bring them up to speed. We got to get back to the basics. We're looking at all these complicated things out here. We don't even know the basics, and we have not passed on the basics. We're eating, to live, how to take care of yourself, your health, economics, all of these things. We got to get back to that. We don't understand that.
But that right there is the component, right? So,
Greg, I don't mean to cut you up. I gotta say this.
Right.
You know what? It seemed like when we was being just outrightly discriminated against, we were in a position. I hate to say it.
Well, that's what I'm saying. During the time, so
it forced us to work together. It forced us to have a sense of excellence. Yeah. It's like we have too much freedom now. Right. What it perceived to be freedom. It's not freedom.
Okay.
I found this on the web. Hold on, I'm sorry. That's my stupid that's series.
It's okay.
No, it's not okay, series. I didn't ask for you. Siri said it was okay. All right, yeah. So go ahead.
Yeah, so everything that Yvonne said, I totally get her point. And those components, everything from collectiveness and things like that, the reason why I would say that there is no code of conduct, because we do lack the collectiveness, number one. And it's not that it can't be there, it's just that no one's pushing for it, right? I'll give you a very quick example.
Nobody's pushing for what? Code of conduct?
I'm talking about, and I'm talking about on the collective scale. I'm talking about food. And this is the thing. 40 to 50.
You wouldn't say Nasir, the Tariq Nasir was his 40?
Well, no, those guys, guys like them. See, this is the thing with guys like them. They'll give you the rundown and they'll give you the basics and understanding of it, and they'll give it to you from a very good, significant viewpoint. But however, they do line up with the galvanizers that will continue to push the idea that it's just the white supremacy and it's the white man that did it for you, and that's why you can't get nowhere.
You said Tariq is like that?
No, he's probably one of the only ones that he's
doing stuff.
No, he's doing things for the community. But when you listen,
he opened up the black museum.
No, he's the one.
That's huge, Greg.
No. What I'm saying is that I think you're missing the point.
What
I'm simply saying is that I'm not saying him per se, but a lot of times when I look at a lot of these galvanizers, they use a lot of his information, and then right behind whatever he's using, to try to like rectify the situation, they'll come in and then they'll just start with it's the white man that did it. This is just what they do. But they'll try to use some of his
talking
platform. They use his platform and everything. They use a lot of stuff, but there's nothing wrong with that. So I listen to his. He has very good points on a lot of things. I think he's probably one of the more I think he's a better education force than a lot of these ones that are out here doing things they shouldn't be. The ones who are literally just pinpointing on that same thing, and then they go to the wrong people with this idea, and then ones who are already not doing anything. You're sitting on that corner because the white man did this to you. Yeah, some facts, man, facts. And then and before you know it now, and then and then it won't be.
Now you just be a victim. You won't be trying to help yourself.
Yeah, exactly. Then that'll eventually lead you to incarceration. But the point that I'm making is that the community that we should be looking for, right? Okay, remember about a year ago, last summer, somewhere around in the end of last summer, I remember Staten Island. Now, Staten Island, they have a bunch of communities. Some of them are actually racist, right? And this is the thing, right? I sat there and watched how when a bunch of immigrants came to this country, and they started taking those immigrants, they started pushing them into Staten Island. We had about 3 to 5 different communities all got together, along with the Staten Island president. They all came together and they went out there and they went and fought, and they got results. And all those immigrants, they can't go nowhere near Staten Island. But you see, this is the problem I'm talking about. And right here where we are right now, right where I live at, up on West 150th, where in that area, we have a politician sitting right there next door, right across the street from the Food Emporium. And he sits there, and across the street, you got a whole bunch of guys sitting on the street corner with beach chairs, corporate office chairs that I guess they don't use, and just sitting around the Arab bodega, hanging around, smoking blunts, talking about Steph Curry hitting the 3-pointer, thoughts and hoes and all kind, just a bunch of nonsense, right? And you could see that on one corner. You can go around the corner, see the same thing again. You go up the street, you see it again. You could go all across certain parts of Harlem, Brooklyn, South Bronx, and you see the same South Jamaica, and you can see the same behavioral patterns. Okay,
but is that just with our culture?
No, what I'm showing you is the smaller. Again, no. Well, this is the thing. Even if you've seen it, who goes to Little Sri Lanka and Staten Island to even see if these things are happening? We don't, because we don't have no concern and we don't care. Okay, because you do have a very small Middle Eastern community called Little Sri Lanka.
Okay,
and in Staten Island, but it's a Middle Eastern community, and you know what? America helps them, okay? Because and then this is the thing. Not only does America help them, they basically help themselves. You get 3 Muslims that will work together and they'll build businesses together. You don't get this in our community. We just simply are completely discombobulated and broken down completely. Okay. So this politician that sits there, right? What he'll do, he won't pay attention to what's going on. He sees what's going on. I'm pretty sure he knows what's going on. Okay. You'll get a bunch of people in the condos. Okay. And every condo that comes in this community, the value of the property goes up higher. Black people don't realize the trouble that they're in right now. The fact that all these condos that are coming into these neighborhoods, it's the gentrification is on the rise.
Oh my God! But a 2-bedroom is like $4,000 or $5,000.
That's what I'm saying. But the poverty level stays stagnant when it comes to us. Okay, and that's because we don't get involved. We don't build grassroots organizations. Grassroots organizations.
No more.
Right, but we don't do right. That's the point. But the grassroots organizations.
We did have them.
Not anymore. That's my point.
But some people
point now we need. But this is the thing.
But some people would say, Greg. Some people would say that the reason why we don't build it a lot of people is afraid to build it because look what happened to our leaders. So
Okay.
it's not, you know,
Well,
most of the
black
leases.
leaders. We don't have black leaders leading us
No,
now.
but I'm just saying when we did, they got shot, they got killed, they got infiltrated, their families got murdered or threatened, and that's not like an easy thing. I'm not making excuses, don't get me wrong, but I'm looking at it from that perspective too. Like what I heard, a lot of people say, yeah, you can say that. It's even with Tariq Nasheed, you heard about the helicopters flying around his house,
I'm pretty sure,
and just for him having hidden colors, just for him just having a video, just putting together a production of videos to educate us. That's how a threat that, I mean, come on, Greg.
Well, that's what I'm trying to tell you. Even certain things that I know, there's certain things I can say right now that can get this whole program flagged to the point where they'll be knocking on your door like, why you got this guy on your program? That's why even me, I got to be limited in certain things I even say myself. I have to, because at the end of the day, but the point that I'm making is that if we continue to hold that position, we continue to hold these positions like that, this is exactly why everyone's winning. Because at the end of the day, and let me tell you something, if we came collectively, and that's the way, and this is why the fabricated culture thing works like a charm on us. The distractions, everything from distractions to feminism, everything that they're pushing in there, like she said, you know, that's what they're pushing. The small, minute ones that really don't hold no water in the community are the ones that they're pushing more than anything. Mm-hmm. They're pushing all of the behavioral patterns, everything that what black is supposed to be about, and that's the problem. Okay, so the politician, you know what he is? You know what he's more concerned about? When the two people that just bought the condo across the street, when they come in and say, well, you know, I'm really afraid to walk up and down 150 at 3 o'clock in the morning because I see these guys on the steps smoking blunts, and I'm really scared. Well, thank you. Write that letter down, because you know what? 3 other of people in your building did the same thing, and we're going to get a huge community board going, and then we'll go to this is how they get the results. Now, what we do, we'll just sit there, shuck and jive, play games, literally do nothing about it. Okay, and sooner or later, and this is how now, and what they're doing now, and that's how they get you out of. They even get you out of your renting contract. You know what? We'll give the Masons. They've been in this building, paying this rent for. Let's give them a little $30,000, $60,000. Let them walk away. And these people take this like it's lottery draws, and they walk away. And then they'll turn that building into a condo, put gyms and everything in it. And this is what they do. And us, we're so ignorant. It's like we just accept it. So where we are right now, and we continue to hold this narrative that, well, and trust me, I get your point because you're right. But if we continue to hold this narrative of, well, you know, they're afraid it's going to happen. What happened to X and King, it's going to happen again. I guarantee if we continue to push that, hold that right there, I guarantee you we're not going. We might as well just stay right here and just let the good times roll. That's what we need to do.
Well, it don't seem like good time, but I'm just all right. I have a question for y'all.
The ones who are benefiting off of it.
Avon, I have a question. What is black culture to you right now, as it stands?
What is it? What is it from what I'm seeing, or what?
What is it from what is you seeing? Because I want to hear what you see. What did you hear from what you see now? What you see about black culture? What do you see now? What does black culture mean to you as it stands right now?
I see a huge disconnect between the youth and the elders.
I agree.
And those that's in between. There's a huge disconnect. You don't don't understand the basics, what's going on. So, you know, if I don't know the basics and how to take care of myself or where I stand, I don't know how to connect with the bigger issues at hand. I don't even know how the basics. If I can't take care of the basics, I am not going to be thinking clearly anyway. So I can't handle what's going on there. And then you got older people as well, or we'll say more mature people as well, and that they're in the same situation. And what Greg was saying is true. You get laid back and figure, oh, I can't do anything about it. So you sit back and wait and let somebody else do it. The thing is, you can't just sit there and let somebody else do it. Somebody got to stand up and do it. If you notice that there's a discrepancy and that there's a problem there, you see what the problem is, you need to go in and do something about it because you're noticing it, you're aware of it, and I'm seeing that a lot of that is not happening. So I see disappointed. What's the word I'm looking for? Hopeless. You know, folks just don't see, well, why bother? I'm just here, so I'm gonna just get mine. I can't worry and think about what everybody else is doing. I'm trying to survive out here.
Exactly. That's what individualism comes in. Individualism comes in. Right.
Correct.
You're correct. You're so correct.
And that's it. So, and then you're out here, and then you got anger going on there. I see that as well.
Yes.
These cheerings are the youth. They're mad as heck. They're saying, first of all, you let us down and you let us out here by ourselves, defend for ourselves. We don't know what the heck is going on, and we have all these things assaulting us and what have you. We don't know what to do about it. So I'm mad at you. So now, since I'm upset with you, I'm not listening to a word you have to say. I don't believe nothing that you say now. Because you left me out here like this, so I'm not paying. And then because I'm mad, I'm going to rebel, and then I'm going to go up against you. I lost respect for you, so why should I care about, what I'm supposed to do, honoring my parents and respecting adults? You let me down. You left me out here, so what the heck? I don't care about you because you didn't care about me. So I'm seeing a lot of that, and it hurts. It hurts.
It sure does. It sure does. And what I also tell people that, basically people don't realize is that this generation is a derivative of everything that we went through because of what happened through the crack era. This is literally their derivative. They are literally a derivative of everything that happened there that derived from that era as a reflection of what's going on right now. That's why there's so much dysfunctionality in the Black community and Black culture right now. It's very people like growing up in that era and what we seen it do to from it becoming a criminal issue to ACS cases and everything there. And you got to remember, not only did we deal with that, we dealt with the heroin era, from the heroin with the crack, and then we had the AIDS epidemic. We had so many different things
back to back.
And then from there, right, literally.
It's it's amazing how we made it through.
Right. That's why we have to stand for something when it comes to God. But the point that I'm making is that right from that whole point of all of those atrocities that really plagued the Black community, and then right there, waiting at the forefront of two forms that literally engulfed us from that point before, and that's the younger generation that started coming up then, and that was the hip hop and entertainment. Because remember, I'll even go as far as saying, when I was a kid growing up, listening to some of the first earlier rappers, a lot of the earlier rappers back in 1985, 86, when crack was really beginning to take its toll on the Black community, they were making songs about leave them drugs alone. They were realizing it. Songs about the crack, how it was killed. Then self-destruction comes out. Okay, somebody in the forefront or someone behind the scenes, literally saw a young Black community that was very aware, young Black educated kids that created this hip hop culture, and they saw all of the ills of the community that was plaguing us, and they were reaching out through this through music. That was their voice, and they were telling us. So back in 1989, you couldn't the way women today through this process of feminism run around here glorifying the idea that they're bad bees and hoes and things like that, which is complete asinine. The fact that even Black men in 2024 running around still calling themselves niggas, to me, is asinine. That is ridiculous, okay? And back in 1989, if you would have called Queen Latifah a bitch, you would have got your jaw cracked. There's no way in the world you could have pulled that off. Now, you call some woman a bee today that's caught up into this man, she'll take you to bed. It's crazy. Man, he called me a bee. Oh, I like him. I just, that's just
That's
what I was
love.
looking
That's
for.
love.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's so from the time when those things began to really become, to become a problem, it escalated to a deeper, a worse problem, and now it's out of hand. It's like an out of control scientific substance that's completely out of control, and now there's no way the consumer contain it.
Okay, but I still have a
That's
question
really
for
sad.
you and Avon. So is this guy right, Kanai right, that Black Americans have no culture?
Well, again, like I said, when my position is always going to be at this particular point, we don't, as far as because due to the fact that I feel, in my opinion, that we don't have a code of conduct, we do not have a demographic that stands for. And when I say code of conduct, I'm just talking about to the fact that nationwide, we just don't do nothing collectively. Anywhere all across the 50 states, that our story is their story. Okay, you can go down to North Carolina right now, and you can go to Detroit, and you'll see every gas station in a black neighborhood run by a bunch of Arabs. That shouldn't be happening.
But I want you to answer my question. Is he right? Kanai right? Is he right?
Well, him being right and based on what he's saying about black culture, because this is the thing. Somebody educated can ask him what he's talking about and can literally completely turn the whole tables on him because he's just a young kid. So when he says black people don't have no culture, first of all, what you have to do is sit him down and ask him exactly what is he talking about. Because what he just did there, all that yelling and screaming and hollering, that didn't show anything. All he basically did was he tried to defend himself from getting lashed at. Now, he was right on all of these names and stuff like that. I'll give him that.
Names like what you mean?
Ghanaian, African. These are all
nationalities.
Exactly. These nationalities were passed down to us by people who oppressed us, without a shadow of a doubt. You understand what I'm saying? So that's why even there, when you look at this idea of, that's why
even Africans,
same thing. Well, even when you look at their
right,
their particular name, that the word in Africa, Neoscipios Africanus, that came from a white person. That came from a white conqueror. You know what I'm saying? But Akhenaton was the name of Africa's original. That was the original name for it. It wasn't originally called Africa. Okay. Right, okay. Just like even when you look at this Atlantic Ocean is actually Ethiopia. It was originally called the Ethiopian Ocean or something like that at the beginning.
But Greg, I don't want to.
I don't want to.
No. But I want because we have a 18-year-old and here with us, right? Mm-hmm. My daughter who wrote the paper. She wrote a college paper recently about culture, and we in our 40s and up. I can say, and I want to say too.
I'm 54. I don't mind being an elder.
Okay, right, elder. Right, exactly. Be an elder and grow gracefully because you see some people is not even making it to 50 something.
You got people that will joke and say that, oh, you guys are old. That's right, and God, and unfortunately will pass away before they get to 50. Right. You got people, we just learned something like that.
Right, somebody we just knew, 39.
That's right,
And I seen his mother crying.
Yeah, and that's really sad.
Yeah.
So it's not that it
died of a heart attack. He didn't get, he died of a heart attack. But Kayla, so I have here with me my daughter Kayla, and I just want to ask her because we can, we have our perceptions and perspective. This is a generation that's going to be we passing the baton to. So Kayla, what do you say now that you understand? Even though I've been teaching you things, but from your own understanding that you did your research, you wrote something in college. I've seen your paper, and thanks for referencing me, acknowledging that I did teach you some stuff. What would you say Black culture is today?
I would say that Black culture is like.
Come over here. Come on, Avon. Can you hear?
Just come closer to the mic.
Hello. Hello, Miss Avon.
Hello, Kayla. How are you?
Good.
Great to hear you.
I would say that Black culture is represented through like arts, the literature, the roots that we come from, and things like that that we have to learn throughout history and stuff like that.
So, give me an example. What you would consider Black culture?
Give you an example. Just basically the history, like like this different historical figures. We have multiple different arts. Yeah, like
Give me a history.
we have music. And then you said what else?
Give us an example of what when you say historical figures, like who? Name.
We got Malcolm X. We got like just basically just different historical figures that you hear on your daily basis. That's African American. A lot of historical figures come from the U.S. So
Okay. All right. And you know, I'm sure I taught you more than just Malcolm X, right? That you just you got brain fog.
Yeah.
Okay, that's good. That's okay. All right. So we heard it from. So do you feel that way now? Do you feel? Okay. So what was
ask the question? How does she feel about what she sees in society, and how are her peers speaking, and what are they saying? So
that's a good question, Avon. Yes.
Yeah, well, my peers, they definitely don't think that, like, well, they never said that they don't think that, like, African American culture is, like, like, they don't know about it or nothing like that. But, like, it shows, like, or they'll be like, oh, they'll say certain things. They'll be like, oh, where you come from, you can't have two parents from America, things like that. And it's just like, how? I do have two parents from America who's Black.
Mm-hmm.
So
they say that to you?
Yeah.
What they mean by that?
Well, they look at your complexion, and then is that what are they judging you by complexion?
Yeah.
Thinking that maybe you could be white.
Oh yeah. They always say that.
Just ridiculous. Right.
Or they'd be like, how are you not African? How you not Jamaican? Like, that we have to have somewhere that we come from. We just come
other
from
than America.
Yeah, just from African American.
So you've been called everything besides African American Black.
Yeah.
Yeah, you told me that before. So do you think that helped with the confusion of what I was telling you? Then when you go out into, school and the world, was that like a discrepancy there in your head?
Wait, what was the question again?
Like, being that you just said that, like when you go to school and you talk to your peers, they're saying they're saying one thing, but I was teaching you something different. Was that a discrepancy?
I was definitely in the middle. Yeah, I was in the middle. It was hard. Coach, I was so confused. Culture Day was, I didn't even want to do anything. I just sat down.
So from your perspective of college, right? You had a Culture Day in college?
No, we don't. Yeah, we do have Culture Days, but we have like different organizations, like African Association.
So when you have these organizations in college, do you have like African people who are part of it, or do you have so-called African Americans and things like that? The reason why I say so-called African Americans, again, when you see our people, we still do to this very day. We do face a serious identity crisis based on who we are and things like that. It's sad that we're probably one of the only people that always got to go back to DNA and things like that. Other people don't have to do those things. So what I'm asking you is that, and a lot of these colleges, the organizations that they had did you have like certain women or people from Ghana or from Nigeria that would be a part of like a particular organization?
Yeah, we do have Black Student Union. There's multiple Africans on the board.
Right, okay.
Nigerians, stuff like that.
Black Student Union, right?
So let me ask you a question, right?
That's interesting.
Well, it's right, because this is important, because this is the thing. Even there in certain colleges, sometimes even there they try to differentiate themselves from so-called African.
They split it up.
Yes,
so
they
there's
do.
Black Student Union, there's ASA, African Association, there's JAMSA, that's Jamaican Association.
You see what I'm saying? But this is the problem. But no. But when you look at that, these are also forwarding problems, because at the end of the day, if you are supposed to be identifying as this melanated skin, it shouldn't be that, okay? And at the end of the day, when you have Nigerians against Jamaicans, and then Jamaicans against Haitians, and HAT organization, what's that? The Haitian Girls of what kind of not? You see that?
Okay, but let me ask you this.
That doesn't make any sense,
right? But okay. So the Haitians, Jamaican is still under the black organization, the black.
No, there's there's
No,
different
they
ones.
won't be called African American
and
at
then
that point.
ASA,
No, but it's a black organization, right? What's the name of it?
BSU. Okay,
BS
but I'm a part of BSU. I'm not a part of
Okay.
ASA
Right.
and JAMSA and all that. I can be, but like they don't really get along with BSU.
Yeah, you- and
You said that. You
And
was
that's
telling me
but
that.
that's my
She
question.
said because Kayla was saying that
But
she's friends
that's
with
my
both of her. It
point.
sounded like
The point is that the overall thing is that's the confusion right
Yeah.
there. It should not be that,
Exactly.
especially you coming up as a young up and coming individual.
Mhm.
It shouldn't be. That's the problem. What I'm telling you that it's the education system's always been one of the key problems.
Mhm.
Feel what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So believe me when I tell you this is a sledgehammer of issues that come from academia. It comes from just secularism. It's so many different things, but it affects people of color more than anything. You see what I'm saying?
So let
That's
me
what I'm
ask you
saying.
something, because we talked about this, Kayla. So, and when you told me, I was like, wow. So do they identify themselves as black? Like the Africans, the Jamaicans?
Yeah,
and-
They will identify themselves as black, but at the end of the day, they still have conflict with another
black.
The
Right.
Africans.
Well,
will have
I
conflict
understand
that'll
that
make
being
no
that
sense.
but we had that problem a long time ago, because if you look at back, okay, Africa, you know how many tribes are in Africa? So we always been tribal people within ourselves, and that's what's happening in the continent, that we just come together just on, okay, we black.
So what about
we
South
color?
Africa? What about Zimbabwe? What about Africa?
That's
what
what
about
I'm, no,
South
but I'm
Africa?
trying to
That's
tell
all
you,
white.
because it was colonized.
Colonized?
Yes.
Even when you look at Africa today, let's look at Africa right now today. When you look at
And
West
then
Africa,
there's certain black leaders sold us out.
they're still
Like
doing
that
it now.
what's that ASN that just won the African was South Africa election.
But here's the problem: you have Asians right now
Mhm.
that are now going into Africa and taking over all the chicken farms and everything, and completely flushing Africa out.
Well, you
West
know that that's
Africa.
good, because that's greed of the leaders, which we have that here in the United States too.
All I'm saying is that the reason why I asked you that question, because I'm trying to show you the root of the problem here in America.
Right.
We could talk all that African stuff all day. That's not even a reflection of what's going on here.
Mhm.
Okay, this is one of the reasons why even when Oprah did all of that nonsense by opening up the schools for the African people, it was cool. And you had white ladies running at her, coming at her saying, how dare you go over there to Africa? That baffled me. Saying you got more problems over here in America. You're going over there fixing things. You know, we know that a lot of those celebrities do that stuff just so they can have a big smile on their face and make it seem like they're doing big things. So someone can say, "Oh, this is just a one," and then you can go to her one of her shows and then get a car at the end of the year, some nonsense like that. So it's all propaganda and foolishness. We have a problem here in America, okay? And the problem in America, okay, is the dysfunctionality of the black community. That's the problem right there, okay? And it's affecting you horribly.
Yeah.
And it hurts. That's
Okay.
the point. And
So
that's something we need to
Caleb,
focus
so do
on.
you now have the confidence in the knowledge that you need to have, a good amount of self-esteem based on that?
Yes, it did.
So it really affected you a lot when you was in.
Yeah.
And then being that you light skin, and then
Yeah.
with your eyes and everything. So yeah. So
Like
you felt like a biracial child, and you ain't even biracial.
Yes.
Because that's what, yeah.
And it's sad. That's what
Wow.
I'm trying to tell you. I know Africans that probably wouldn't want her in their organization because of what she looked like. You see
Who,
what
the
I'm saying?
Africans?
Sure, they got they're like
That's
that.
true. No, but you do have friends.
I'm not saying I didn't say they're friends. I'm saying but
No, because they like light skin.
There are colorists too. There's colorism everywhere you go.
But they colorism came over because they like lighter skinned people. Remember, they bleaching themselves to look like that.
But that's another product of white supremacy. I know. Listen, I know white African women that won't even look at an so-called African American man's face, but run to a white man and men. That's all mental colonization right there. I know that for an actual fact. And that's why they put the weave in there here, and so they can so it's a reflection of a white woman, that long weave. That's what that's all about. The bleaching the skin because they're shit.
Yeah, there's some of them. Yeah, in Africa, right there is bleaching their skin. So okay. Kayla, so now, so it must have been tough for you because colorism was a thing when I was growing up, but not that much. It wasn't like Would you
Well,
say it wasn't that? I never really experienced. I'm sounding like the people that said they never experienced racism until they get their head busted open.
Yeah.
No, I'm not saying
Sound like
that.
Willie Wayne.
No.
Oh, I don't know what racism is.
No.
You ever seen that?
I know you did.
Yeah, I
I
think
know.
we-
No, I know
I don't
racism.
know. That's
No. I know racism exists, and I have been a victim of it, but not a victim, but I have been subjected to it. But what I'm saying is that with certain organizations, she will be able, and it's unfortunate, to get in based on her skin, just based on her lighter.
What I'm saying is
complexion.
that because of that being an educational institution, how they have all these different organizations and stuff like that, and then what happens is that because that one, and then you got to remember some of these African women that come from abroad, if they already have a father that was a king, that has some type of connection to gold or some kind of power or something like that, some kind of power, they automatically come over here with this idea.
Okay, but let me tell you,
think that they're
no,
better
but
than you.
okay, remember
when
when
they get a part of those organizations, then this is when they start all of that.
no, but it don't be the majority of them.
I'm not saying that, I'm saying.
Alexis told us. I wish I could get her on. Alexis told us. You know, Alexis, the attorney, my attorney. She told us. She said the Africans that come here, they are not. Let's say celebrities or of high rank in their community.
No, of course they're not.
So when they come here, they cab drivers. You know, they delivery people. They're not recognized in their own country. But it so happened that, like one of the people said when they was referring back to Kai, they said that these people, like when you come to America, then you can automatically be somebody. Like you know, like
of course you can.
And then they looking at you like you're nothing. But in their country, nobody knew them. They was like in like the lowest part of poverty, more so than here.
But the Immigration Act, that's what helped that happen. But what I'm saying is that, but here's the thing, right? I don't want you. I have African friends, so I don't want you to think this is an African thing. I'm just simply saying is that the point that I'm making is that in the institution that you're in, it shouldn't be those type of separations. That should not be happening, especially while you're young. It just shouldn't be.
Even for culture purposes, like in terms of
there's too much. And the reason why is because when you look at the Black culture here already, we already have problems here already. So when you go into school automatically, you know, and you get, and this is why, like, okay, I'll give you an example. You know, as a Black person, when they go into college, they give you all the credit cards and everything you need without you knowing nothing about credit. So by the time you get to about midway through, you probably even make it to graduation before you even spent your Pell check on things that ain't got nothing to do with education, messed all your credit all up and stuff like that. And that's all by design. You see what I'm saying? All I'm saying is that in the schools, you know, if everybody learned to get together and learned to work together and understood what their melanated purpose was, then I don't have an issue with that. But we know that that's not the case.
I see what you're saying.
That's all I'm saying.
Okay.
And what happens is that you have powerful people, you know, atop of these things that can actually and rectify and make a change, and they don't do it. Okay, and this is a problem. That's all I'm saying. That's all.
I understand that.
That's all I'm saying.
That. So
I agree with a lot of what I agree with what Greg is saying. But while we're still there, Kayla, are you still there?
Yes, I'm still here.
Okay, let me ask you, as a young adult, and then you have heard what we have discussed thus far and what you've seen out in the world, as a young adult, what would you like to see, and how do you think that we can start rectifying some of these issues that we have going on here now?
I definitely feel like learning each other's culture also would help. Like if I did know like a lot of African culture, or if I did know a lot of Jamaican culture, I would feel more included. Maybe it's that they don't feel included when they come to like, you know, Black culture and stuff like that. So I feel like me learning like other people's, you know, African culture and Jamaican culture and stuff like that, it could make me feel like, you know, included with others and stuff like that.
So you or them?
Them too. I feel like, yeah. I feel like that too.
I agree with you.
Because in my clubs that we be having, like you know, the ASA, they don't want to come to Black Student Union stuff because, you know, it's a bunch of issues and they don't like each other and they always arguing on what time they're gonna have certain stuff. Like, it's just be too much. So I feel like if they come together, they communicate, they talk, you know, just learn about each other, I feel like it would be better.
Yes, I agree. And that's why as elders, as the 3 elders that you stand before you right now, we're gonna do everything in our willpower, right? This is the whole purpose of this whole platform, right? Is to literally bring all of this kind of stuff to light, you know, stuff like that. To encourage you that you can always come to us if you have issues like that, because that's what we're here for. You know what I mean? We're here to help you on every level whatsoever. You don't have to be ashamed of anything. You can just, you know, come to us, and you know, we try to the best of our ability. You know what I'm saying? We don't want to come across like we're superficial thinkers, because I most certainly am not one of those. But at the end of the day, you know, we do see a problem. I have a young daughter that's 16 years old, and she's doing she's apex at what she's doing right now in school. I mean, she's running circles around me right now, making me feel like, damn, I should go back to school. That's how bad she's making me. Like, I mean, she's just took the French and she's getting hundreds. All her French tests, she's getting hundreds in all her French tests. She just got a certificate for one of the top kids in the whole state of Georgia, and this really did so much. Like, that really
Black excellence.
Yeah,
and
that's
that's another thing that was part of our culture that we need to, and
Right.
I'm going to contribute to that.
Right.
Of
Well,
bringing back,
you're doing it now.
bringing back Black excellence.
That's
And I have talked about that, right, Caleb? Give
And
examples.
you have an intelligent young lady right here that can assist in this. You feel what I'm saying? You know, this platform that you and I don't care what nobody says. This platform here, in its origin of where it is right now, this right here was by design. It should have happened, and that's why what you and Avon are doing right now, y'all are doing some phenomenal things right now. Well, and the fact that now the urban conversion table at some point is going to come out of this, I'm telling you, man, we're going to knock this thing out the park the way we should.
Amen.
So, Avon, do you have any other questions for Kayla? Because you're asking some good questions. You pulling up on the scene.
I want to build on what Kayla has said. Just like, and she said it very plainly, she would take the time to learn and understand others' cultures, and then that favor should be returned in kind. That if people would take the time to learn and understand what's going on over here, they would see and find out you got more in common than not. You're pointing their fingers are being pointed, oh, you ain't this or you ain't got this, whatever. But if you see the structure and what's going on in your environment as well, you got the same thing going on, but you don't recognize it as such. So, like I said, take a minute to understand and see what's going on with other people. And if they would take the time to do the same, they would find out and learn a whole lot of things. And they would come together more than, try to fight each other and separate themselves. As Greg says, individualism. We are away from the collective.
Big problem.
Well, Kayla had a meeting because her middle name is Asada. Kayla Asada. Oh yeah, her middle name is Asada, inspired by the Black Panther movement.
Then you had the Masada. That's a Hebrew thing.
Oh, okay. See, Kayla said that she and one of the groups. Which one of the groups that you said that spoke that y'all would try to do different things? Wait, y'all. We on here. What you said that you mentioned that you and one of the other members of the culture groups was speaking, and y'all said y'all would come and make changes for this year coming.
Yeah, I was saying I want to be on the board for Black Student Union, and she wanted to say how she wanted to be on the board for ASA. And we already know that they be arguing, and we can never have events together and stuff like that. So, I was saying once we get on the board, I was saying we should stop that because it should not be.
So who are the ones who are the ones in constant conflict?
ASA and Black Student Union.
ASA Black Student, and these are two Black organizations, right? But they're, you see this.
But and it comes from the leadership, right? So Kayla's
That's
saying
what
it
I'm
comes
saying.
from the leadership. So
No,
it should
yeah,
be,
that's
and
what
but
I'm
it's
saying.
always, but you see,
Yeah.
it's not only in, but you see why the culture thing is a big thing and how you felt like that, because it's you 19 and you felt like that, and you seeing this. We've been seeing this for years.
For years. It has
How-
to be, and it's pride.
How
it's all about pride.
how all of these organizations have leaders, and this leader don't like this leader, and even though we all Black, it's like we cannot come to a consensus of how we're going to work together to combat our problems.
That's right.
Is that's unique to us as colored people. So we have suffered that as well, and I'm sorry that you had to go through that. In spite of me teaching you as much as I could about history and giving you the love and the support from home. But I know that when children leave home, they have to go face the world, and it's different out there. So, but I'm glad I still did it to show you that you still loved at home, but it is a cultural problem, So yeah. Anything else, Kayla? I mean, Avon, you would like to ask Kayla?
I would just like to say to her, I like what I'm hearing. That's right. Position yourself so you can be in a position of power and can make some changes, and your voice can carry more weight. There are so many ways of doing that, and uh, we as folks need to have those conversations. And then sometimes I'm going to say that everybody does not need to be in family business.
That's right.
If you understand what I'm saying, you gotta have a conversation. And no, we don't need comments from other folks outside of the family. There's a time and place for everything. But then when it's time to take care of family business, family needs to have that conversation, and don't be intimidated by other people saying, well, why are you just sticking to you, and it should be open to us all, and we all. No, not all the time. There's family, and then there's extended family, and the family business, it needs to be amongst the family, and people's insights, if it's not asked for, do not provide it. You know what I'm saying? So these are things we need to do. So Kayla, as they'll come, I'll have more questions, but I'm saying to you, good job, stay focused, and like you say, position yourself. You know what it is, and know what it is that you want to say. You have your ideas, and stand on your ideas, whatever, and share. Other people, a lot of people are afraid of change, and a lot of that is insecurity, to tell you quite honestly. When somebody doubles down and works so hard to tear down what it is that you're saying, it's because there is an insecurity within themselves. So they feel the need to control everything else around them because of their insecurity. So if you can recognize that and understand that, then don't be disheartened by that. You stand even stronger. And you understand that you can have your compassion. And what's the other word that we use all the time, Angela? Compassion and empathy.
Yeah.
But the thing is, you need to know what you know and to stand on it. Don't let people dissuade you from what it is that you know. And then you understand sometimes people are coming from a place of ignorance. They don't understand. They're just parroting what they heard, the catchphrase of the day and whatever, and talking. Like our brother, Mr. Cenat, they just ranting, raving. He's
Did you call him Mr. Cenat?
That's his name, Kai Cenat.
Oh, Cenat. Right, Cenat. Yeah.
Right,
I have one more thing. Don't mean to cut you up, because Kayla, she's about to eat, and she can eat a lot too. But one thing I wanted to ask, though, what can Kayla, and this is for the elders that's sitting here, what can we do to change that, to help with that narrative of Blacks don't have any American Blacks don't have culture? What can the adults do? The elders.
I just feel like acknowledging it.
Come on over here.
Acknowledging it is keep on speaking on how we do, and recognizing the food, the literature, arts, historical figures.
Getting
You could even,
involved.
yeah.
Why don't we just say getting involved?
So like, oh, so we can acknowledge which like the foods and our culture.
Yeah.
But you don't think that is acknowledged enough?
No, it's definitely not.
Let me ask you a quick
I
question.
mean, I don't go out. You could go out and you can hear about African culture and
Right.
Jamaican culture all around. You don't hear about African culture.
Have you ever heard of a man by the name of
You mean
John
American
Horse?
culture, Black
John
American?
Horse?
Yeah.
No.
You know what John Horse is?
No.
What about you, Ange?
No, yeah, I think we spoke about him before.
Yeah. Do you remember a little bit of who he was, stuff like that?
That started the whatchamacallit? The come on, Greg, help me out. Me and you talk about so much stuff.
No. John Horse was a Seminole Indian, and he was like one of the last Seminole Indians during the time what they call the Battle of Fort Negro, stuff like that. He's a very good reference on of a black person that no one ever hears of, stuff like that. You got a lot of them. You have men like Gabriel Prosser, Benjamin Pap Singleton. These are people who you would just never. These are people who just lie dead in books, But when you open up the books and see some of the things that they've done, you'll be like, wow. So that's why this is why I'll just give you one quick thing. I get a little irritated with Black culture, Black History Month. I get very irritated with it all the time because they always get bamboozled.
But you know what? Even though with
Malcolm
Black
X,
history,
Martin Luther King, Harriet Tubman, and I think the one that the bus woman. Those are the only
the bus
five.
woman, Rosa Parks.
Oh, yeah, there you go. I caught it. It's like I just get a little irritated with that because unfortunately, and then with the whole Juneteenth thing, like this is why I get irritated. Again, and that's why when I talk about like metropolitan forms of government, we need to learn these things. You know why? Because in order for us to ask for something like reparations, right? And please let us stop thinking that we don't reserve the right to ask for reparations. You have superficial thinking blacks that will sit there and say that black people are making excuses asking for reparations. These are individualized blacks that are doing good in life, living their best life. They could care less about the culture. They care less about the struggle.
Individualism.
Yes, big time on a high scale, on a dangerous scale. Okay. They're actually worse than what they would call. They play two roles because they're against you as a black person, and then they actually take the place of a white racist. They're worse than a white racist because they look like you, and then they talk against you due to the fact that every person that benefited off of reparations, every culture, every people, every demographic, and then when it comes to us, and when we start talking about it, it gets people very uncomfortable. Mm-hmm. It gets to the point where, what do we do with these people? Oh, now we have to sit down and we have to let's pass a bill to have a case study on that. Mm-hmm. What kind of nonsense is that? Let's pass a bill.
You know what reparations is like what the Jews got,
that's
right?
That's to be compensated for all the injustice that has been done to you. But the point that I'm making is that how is it that when it comes to our people asking for things like this, something that will really benefit us as a demographic nationwide, they have to pass a bill to have a sit down
because that's the plan.
I was gonna say that it makes them uncomfortable.
Right, that's what I'm saying. But then they'll turn around and give you Juneteenth to make it to stop the little bleeding. Yeah. You see what I'm saying? But it's little things like that, and that's why I talk about these things, especially for your younger generation. And so this way you could have some sense of understanding on why metropolitan forms of government. These people, they sit there in these 6 seats and do nothing for us because at the end of the day, we don't know how to attack certain situations. We just don't know how to. And that hurts because at this age where you are, especially the ones like you who actually are, you're in a very good place. You have yourself a headstrong mom that's, that is already putting you in positions right now to have a better future and stuff like that, unfortunately. But then you can now take that information and you can run, because this is the thing, when you go to college, right? When in school, this is something I taught my stepdaughter when she was younger. I said, when you go to school, you're always gonna get around various different mixed emotions of people, because if you have a good mom and a good dad that come from a full family, a supported family, you may run into 3 that didn't have that. And unfortunately, it's sad that the ones like that are the ones that always be the biggest influences on somebody like you. And I'm saying per se, they usually, but this is the thing, they become an influence because they're seeking, they're looking for something. You know what I mean?
You experience that too, when people don't, you have a mom and a dad?
No, I don't really.
Oh, Because most of your friends have their parents too in their
Yeah.
life.
Yeah.
Right, but what I'm saying,
Because I remember one
in
time,
high school.
No, I remember one time in middle school,
Right.
Cody, my oldest son, he
Mhm.
came home running, and he was like, "Ma," he run up to me, "Hi, Cody, how you doing?" He's like, "Ma, you won't believe what happened today." I was like, "What happened? What happened?" He said, "One of my friends don't have a dad."
You see what I'm saying?
Right,
And he couldn't understand that,
everybody
right?
have a dad.
Right.
I was like, his father's just. I had to explain. I said,
Right.
Cody, no. He's like, Mom, I'm telling you, he don't have a father. He don't. Mom,
But we
his
grew up like that. That's how we grew up. We grew up with
But I still knew I had a father. Greg.
No, I know, but I understand. What he
Jesus
was
Christ, that was extreme. He was like in middle school. He was like, no, I think he was in elementary. He was like in sixth grade, fifth or sixth grade.
So being young like that, and
well, Karan told me that too one time.
It was a misconception.
Karan came to me. He was surprised that one of his friends didn't know who his father was. That messed Karan up.
Right, of course.
He was like, Mom, guess what? My friend don't even know who his father. Mom, you don't understand.
But sometimes
and I was like, I was trying to like not
impact.
I wasn't trying to brush him off, but I was like, all right, come on. He was like shaking me, Mom. No, you don't understand. He don't know who his father is.
Right.
Like Karan, I could understand that.
Yeah.
Wow.
No, I understand. No, that's why these are much. When it comes to our culture, our community, there's so many things that we could touch on that we have to really make this thing work.
According to Kayla, basically, first of all, I would like to say thank you for being bold enough and coming to speak up. You did keep your promise because I did ask you, based on the paper that you wrote, one of the things that just to reiterate what you said that I will do is having more conversation and exposing our culture, right? Of all the contributions that we made, the contributions that we are making, and moving forward, right? Okay.
Well, like I said, I commend you, and again, like I said, that's what we're here for. We're here as your elders to do whatever we can in our willpower to help you out. What you just said, is something that we're going to also take into consideration to run with, to get more of us involved, elders, because that's basically what it really stands for. That's what it's all about. Literally getting involved in the situation, and trying to make things different. So I respect and stuff. I love you like I love your mom, and I just hope everything, and Yvonne is. Did I say her name right? Yvonne, right?
Avon, yes.
Yvonne. So yeah, I love you equally, Avon. You know what I mean?
Thank you so much.
Absolutely, yeah. So at the end of the day, I just think that what we're doing here, with this platform and stuff like that. And then again, I think that also what we should do every so often, we should have a few, younger adults like them get on.
I agree.
To help with the situation, okay? Because you gotta understand they're up and coming. And let me tell you something, you'll be surprised how much things that they already know. Prior to the fact that we've taught them things, there are things that they still come out and say that would even have us like, wow, I didn't even know she knew that. I didn't know they knew that. You know what I mean? And these are things to our credit, things that can benefit and help us.
Right. But before we wrap up and talking about culture, Kayla, I need you to hear this too. And next time, we're gonna have this on because I didn't know. I just like the bottle, but I read the story. Right, it's a whiskey. All right. Uncle Nearest is a Black-owned whiskey brand founded by Fawn Weaver. It was she created it in 2016. Weaver was inspired to create the brand after seeing a photo of Jack Daniel and George Green, the son of an unnamed master distiller named Uncle Nearest. Uncle Nearest, also known as Nearest Green, was a former slave who taught Jack Daniel how to make whiskey.
Yeah.
Okay.
But how would you know that?
Right. But listen. So this is we talking about this. Is what Kayla just said. So I'm just dropping jewels. So Weaver's goal was to build a brand that would last for generations, and she has also worked on a book and movie about Uncle Nearest's legacy. So Uncle Nearest, everyone who's drinking Jack Daniels and all these other Uncle Nearest Green taught Jack Daniels, which is everybody know Jack Daniels is one of the largest whiskey,
of course.
and her Uncle Nearest whiskey have won over 400 award worldwide of excellence. This lady, I've been researching her, I've been listening to her, and I'm very inspired because she's a good representation of what excellence is. And she did the branding, everything. She got a team of people, and everyone, most of the, a lot of women, and she went to Uncle Nearest family. So Uncle Nearest family, a former slave owner, is a part of the Uncle Nearest branding.
That's what's up.
Okay, so I just wanted to mention that, being that we're talking about excellence. Yes. Well, Kayla, thanks a lot. Avon, any thoughts?
Yes, I want to say to my girl, you're on path, on track. Continue to do so. Congratulations to you. I'm proud of you. Just keep doing what you're doing, and we're here for you. So look, and I want you to go eat. I don't want us to be accused of starving the child. So go eat, Kayla. We're here. I love you.
Thank you, Kayla. We appreciate you. So so there it is. That's hope. It's still hope. And we're gonna wrap up now.
Hold on 1 second. I want to say something to Greg before we wrap up. Greg, I agree with you, and yes, on future platforms, and Angela, we discussed this before. Like we said, in anything, you always want the balance. So when we have our conversation, we also want the male energy there to bring the balance. And of course, and just because of what we spoke about today, yes, the youth need to be there as well to bring that, so we can have that collectivity going on there. So they need to be a part of that, and they have a lot to say. So we want to include those voices because other people.
Like on certain show, definitely, absolutely. I totally agree on that. Yep.
Okay. So our closing thoughts is that as we heard from the younger generation,
I just also want to say, man, I feel I'm truly blessed to be in you and Avon's presence. I really am.
Thank you, Greg. Thank you. And
Really,
we feel the same energy. We feel blessed as well.
Very happy. I couldn't pick two other powerful sisters.
Thank you, Greg. We appreciate your love and support always. We appreciate you. So with that said, we're gonna wrap up. I wish everyone peace and blessing. Stay tuned to our show. Hit the subscribe and like buttons and the notifications, so you will always be notified of when we have another show. Once again, thank you, everyone, and let's just keep educating and having these conversations and being a part of the development of the Black culture.
Absolutely.
Indeed. Thank you, Angela. Thank you, Greg. Thank you, Kayla. And thank you to our listening audience. Please continue to listen in and share your thoughts and opinions with us, because we love to know what you're thinking and what's going on as far as ideas for future shows. And, stick with us and pass the word on. So again, thank you to all. And I want to wish everyone a great evening. Peace and blessings to you all.
Peace and blessings. Likewise, and thank you as well.
Peace and blessings. Good night.